Hi, my name is Sophia. I'm 29 years old, and this is the story of how my own husband tried to rob me of half my fortune, and how I turned the tables on him in the most satisfying way. Before I start, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss the way this ends. When I married Ethan at 26, everyone thought we were the perfect couple. He was charming, good-looking, and always made me feel like I was the most important person in his life. But what people didn't know was that I came into the marriage with a fortune. Money I inherited from my late grandfather, who had built a chain of successful businesses. Ethan knew about the inheritance, of course. But in the early days, he swore he didn't care about money. He said he loved me for me. Silly me, I believed him. I was so wrapped up in his attention that I ignored the little red flags, like the way he never kept a stable job, or the way he always forgot his wallet when we went out. 3 years into the marriage, things began to change. Ethan became distant, and his charm turned into arrogance. He started criticizing me, making me feel guilty for working late, even though my investments practically ran themselves. At first, I thought he was just stressed. But then came the bombshell. Ethan filed for divorce. Out of nowhere. I was heartbroken. But the real betrayal came when I read his demands. He wanted half of everything. Half of my inheritance. Half of my properties. Half of my grandfather's legacy. Half of me. I remember sitting there, holding the papers, my hands trembling. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But more than that, I wanted revenge, so I called my lawyer. I wasn't going to let this man walk away with money he didn't earn. My lawyer and I worked in silence for weeks, gathering documents, piecing together Ethan's dirty secrets. Because you see, Ethan wasn't as innocent as he pretended to be. He had debts, huge debts, and let's just say he'd been doing things behind my back that would look very bad in front of a judge. On the day of the hearing, Ethan walked in grinning, like he had already won. He smirked at me across the courtroom, probably imagining himself spending my money. But what he didn't know was that I had come prepared, with one little envelope that would change everything. And when the judge opened it, Ethan's smile began to disappear. When the judge picked up the envelope, Ethan's eyes flicked toward me, curious and cocky. He probably thought it was some pathetic counterclaim, or a few papers of nonsense. Little did he know, this envelope contained the proof that would destroy every claim he had over my fortune. Inside were detailed bank statements, contracts, and emails that I had meticulously collected over the past few weeks. These weren't just normal documents. They revealed Ethan's secret loans, hidden gambling debts, and shady transactions he tried to keep hidden from me. Every time he tried to smile, I could see the tension growing on his face. It was surreal watching the man who thought he had it all slowly realize how wrong he was. The courtroom was silent. I could hear the faint rustle of papers as the judge examined the contents of my envelope. Ethan's lawyer looked panicked, flipping through the documents frantically, trying to find something, anything, to counter my evidence. But there was nothing. Every single piece was airtight. Every claim he had made was about to crumble. Ethan's smirk vanished. His face turned pale. He opened his mouth, probably to try and talk his way out of it. But the judge raised a hand and shook his head. "This is very compelling evidence," the judge said, his voice calm but firm. "It appears Mr. Ethan has been attempting to manipulate finances and misrepresent his claims. Based on this, the court finds in favor of Miss Sophia. The requested settlement is denied." I felt a wave of satisfaction wash over me, not just because I won, but because I had seen the truth exposed, truth that Ethan had tried so hard to hide. I sat back smiling, letting it sink in. For 3 years, I had trusted him blindly, and he had tried to betray me. But today, justice wasn't just served. It was served with style. As the judge finalized the ruling, Ethan tried to say something, but I just laughed. Not a mean laugh, but the kind that comes from knowing you're untouchable and that someone who tried to harm you has no power left. My laughter echoed slightly in the courtroom, and I saw the anger in his eyes. It was deliciously satisfying. After the hearing, as we walked out of the courtroom, my lawyer patted my shoulder. "You handled that perfectly. Smart, calm, and calculated. He never saw it coming." I nodded, knowing exactly what I wanted. A life free from betrayal, a future built on my own terms, and the satisfaction of seeing him face the consequences of his greed. Ethan tried to walk past me, avoid eye contact, but I couldn't help myself. I leaned slightly forward and whispered under my breath, "Enjoy your loss. You brought this on yourself." And with that, I stepped into the sunshine outside, feeling lighter than I had in years. The man who tried to steal my life had been shown exactly who held the power, and it wasn't him. After the courtroom victory, life felt surreal. People congratulated me, but most didn't know the full story behind that envelope. They only saw the end result: Ethan defeated, justice served, and me walking away with my dignity intact. But I knew the months leading up to that moment were what truly mattered. I spent weeks quietly preparing. I didn't want revenge that looked obvious or petty. I wanted a clean, undeniable victory that would leave no room for doubt. And that envelope, that was my masterpiece. Every email, every bank record, every proof of his attempts to manipulate my fortune had been collected like puzzle pieces, ready to show the world exactly who Ethan really was. After the hearing, I returned home and sat on my balcony, sipping tea as the city buzzed below. I thought about how betrayal feels like a knife in your chest, and how important it is not to let anger control you. Instead, I used it to think, to plan, and ultimately to act with precision. I didn't just get back my money, I reclaimed my power. Ethan, on the other hand, was nowhere to be seen in the days that followed. Rumor had it that he was trying to recover some of the credibility he lost, but everyone who knew the truth avoided him. The irony was that while he had tried to make me the villain in our story, the court and the evidence made him look like the desperate, greedy one. And it felt good, really good. I learned something vital through all of this. Trust your instincts, listen to the warning signs, and never ever underestimate yourself. I could have cried, yelled, or begged, but I chose strategy over emotion, and that choice changed everything. Sometimes people come into your life with charm and promises, but their true intentions are hidden behind smiles. It's terrifying to realize someone you loved could betray you, but it's even more empowering to discover your own strength, the courage to stand tall, gather your evidence, and fight back smartly. That day, I didn't just win in court, I won my life back. Now whenever I look back, I don't feel anger or sadness. I feel pride, I feel power, I feel free, and if Ethan ever thinks about trying anything like that again, he'll remember that envelope, that courtroom, and that one woman who wasn't afraid to protect herself. So, to anyone watching this story, remember, you are stronger than you think. And justice, smartly planned and calmly executed, can be sweeter than revenge itself. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more unbelievable revenge tales. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat.